Okay, should be up and running. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're doing some we're doing something. Today we're going to start out by looking over the press conference that Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson did just a couple of days ago. Might play some games later, but more than likely going to be this is going to be a politics heavy stream, so be aware of that if you're watching this in the future. I know I have a lot of people who watch my streams later on, so be aware of that. And for anyone jumping in, understand that. Oh. And I suppose there's not much to do other than just kind of get into this and adjust my chair so I can be out of the view here. And I want to pull up the chat. I don't know who's going to actually jump into this. I want to. Oh, hey, welcome in. I didn't know anyone was already here. It's going to be a politics-heavy stream, just so you know. First thing we're doing is going over the recent, Brandon Johnson's recent interview that he did with the press. How do I summarize exactly where to start with this? Give a quick primer. So the city of Chicago is broke, in large part because. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna try to summarize in as few words as possible, but I think it'll as we're watching this press conference, it'll come to you. You'll pick it up. Essentially, the Chicago Teachers Union is where Brandon Johnson, the current mayor of Chicago, got his start. He is now favoring them, allegedly. Who knows? We're not making any accusations, but allegedly he is favoring them by being so devoted to the idea of 10% raises for all staff that he is willing to take out a short-term, high-interest loan and try to pressure the head of Chicago Public Schools, not the union, but the head of the CEO of the school system, to resign because he would not specifically endorse this loan, this short-term, high-interest loan. The fucking mayor of Chicago wants to take out a fucking payday loan, and he's willing to, fire people, and, the entire school board of Chicago, America's third largest city, the entire school board of America's third largest city resigned over this because they did not want to allow him to take out this loan because it's such a bad idea. The governor has made statements saying that he thinks it's a bad idea. It's just crazy. But what I find most fascinating about it is seeing... Oh yeah, of course. It's tax dollars. Who cares? It's so easy to just wish it away. It's just tax money. Who cares? But what I find most interesting about it is that this is a case where we have a we have a Democrat governor, not governor. Well, we do have a Democrat governor, but we have most importantly a Democrat mayor in a large historically Democrat-run state, who is now at odds with other Democrats within the state, because Illinois is a blue state through and through, and that is a neutral statement. I'm not trying to say anything against Democrats. That's just Illinois historically has been. It's been run by the Democrats for a very long time. And our Democrat governor is speaking out against this Democrat mayor in his meanwhile, the mayor, Brandon Johnson, is making comparisons to they don't want to approve this loan to try to keep the black man down. So now you have Democrat leaders in the state having to say, no, we're not trying to keep the black man down. Actually, it's just a fascinating cycle of events. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this. I'm going to share my screen here. There we go. And make that full. So I'm going to wait for the thing to catch up here so we can see this. Oh, may watch the new Half Alive music video. But yeah, it's just an incredibly fascinating series of events going on. Here it is. I watched it twice already. It's so incredibly fascinating.
Right. It is.
Also, let me know if the audio is okay.
With that, we'll take questions.
All right, here's the beginning.
Mayor, thank you so much. A couple of clarifications. I'm trying not to make this too long, but will they stay? Because you still will be appointing 11 members. It isn't a totally elected school board. So when you all say that there was going to be a transition anyway, there was always going to be those appointed, that meant the 7 current, many thought were staying. So it's not exactly accurate to say everybody was leaving until all this happened.
So yeah, this is what I was saying. The entire school board resigned collectively because they did not want to be pressured by Johnson, the mayor, into firing the Chicago Public School CEO. They did not want to approve this loan, this short-term high-interest loan, as well. So now Johnson is claiming it is historically within the power of the mayor to just appoint school board members. That is historically within their power, but people are saying that Johnson is abusing that, something that is technically within his power, but the way he's using it, where the entire school board happens to resign when they're doing something he didn't like, and he's now appointing an entirely new one. It's very, very suspicious. Oh, you're gonna love the journalists in this. That's part of what I find so interesting. You are going to love the journalists. You're going to love the questions they ask, because this is part of what's so fascinating about left-on-left violence. The journalists hammer him, and it's fascinating to watch. And watching like these journalists try to hammer him even as he's trying to call them racists, it's crazy. It's so fascinating to watch.
Last week. To add to that, who vetted these candidates? Are they endorsed by the CTU? Were they asked ahead of time? Was this a deal breaker? Were they asked, would they fire CEO Martinez and agree to the $300 million?
Well, let's start with your first narration. The current members of the board that are now resigning had no intentions on staying. That's why they didn't run to seek office.
Sure.
So that,
But you still appoint 11. It's not a totally elected board. So would they have stayed? I'm just trying to find out.
I know, and I'm answering it. Okay. The 7 members who are resigning never intended to stay. So I just want to make sure that's absolutely clear. They always knew what their assignment was. And just, again, since we are offering up clarification, last July, 6 board members resigned. 6 of them. And I hope you...
So sorry, I am going to be stopping quite a bit, but I guess what he's trying to say is that, there are, I believe, a total of 7 school board members in Chicago that sit at any given time are on the board. And he's saying that 6 have already resigned since July in the past, 4 months. That just kind of makes it seem like the school board is even more chaotic. That's not a point in your favor. I mean, okay.
Can draw this very simple conclusion here. This is not the first time the number of resignations that we are seeing are taking place. 6 members resigned. I replaced 6 back in July. And in this instance, 7 members decided to resign. And I accepted their resignation.
They all happen to resign right when they try to push back on you taking out this massive short-term high-interest loan. Okay.
As far as members who will transition in during this period, there could be scenarios in which some members are able to remain. It really depends on the outcome of the election.
Would you talk further about those other questions that I asked?
That's his hair that really offends me.
No, listen, none of these individuals up here.
How were they vetted?
Okay. None of these individuals up here.
Love these journalists.
Are one person is...
Stop it! That's mean!
As far as who they've been endorsed by, you have to ask those individuals. As far as
he does look like Wesley Snipes went on Queer Eye.
They were asked to carry out the vision of public education, the one that I ran on, the one that's in my transition report, the one that's in this transition 5-year plan. They were asked to carry that vision out. Thank you very much.
Okay, I thought I had a follow-up.
There were 5 questions there. Which one are you following up to? Question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If there's time, Marianne, we can talk later. But
don't be combative. Jesus.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. Just wanted to clarify: are these candidates endorsed by the CTU?
You have to ask those individuals. I have not endorsed any of these individuals up here in terms of their sort of political aspirations. What's being carried out right now is my authority as mayor of the city of Chicago. If you want to know, I am fulfilling the executive responsibility that is given to me by the state law. If you want to find out who CTU is endorsing, go ask the CTU. I'm not the CTU. I'm the mayor of the greatest freaking city in the world, the city of Chicago. Do you have a follow-up?
Respectfully,
Do you have a follow-up?
I do have a follow-up. Thank you.
Does this not feel like Trump? Like the blatant populism, the blatant, favoritism toward the institution that put him in power, masked with a layer of populism? Yeah, respect my authority. Yeah, absolutely. Like, does this not feel like just Trumpism by another name? Like, it's that, not even that, like, even speaking as someone who is less opposed to authoritarianism than the average leftist, like, does this not feel like the Trumpist style, like I said, like favoring the group that put you in power, but then masking it with the shield of populism? Like, that's the whole point. Does this not feel exactly the same? And now the left has to deal with that within their own ranks. It's going to be absolutely fascinating. Yeah, no, like I said, you're going to absolutely love the journalists in this.
We see that
They do a
one of the
great
people
job of
employed by CTU.
really trying to
Are
get
you
to the
able
heart of what he's
confirm
saying.
that? Debbie Pope? Is that
She doesn't work for the CTU. Thank you very much. Next person.
Who's Debbie Pope? I want to know.
Mayor, regardless of that, perhaps we can...
Is there a story behind that? 'Cause he got really offended by that. Here's one. Who is this? Fought in the Vietnam War, marched for civil rights. He seemed offended when her name came up. What is this? Any approved followers? Okay, I'm not going to request access. Hasn't done anything recently. I'm very interested to know exactly what happened here. Why that name made him so offended.
ask and poll the appointees up here if they have been endorsed by the CTU. That might clarify things right here for us.
So Reverend Mitchell, I'm gonna help you. Reverend Mitchell Johnson is not running. Mary Gardner is not running. Ms. Blaze is not running. Is Olga running? Olga is not running. Who else did I miss? So no one's running. None of them. Wait, come on, you all. Just settle down. Craig has the mic. So no one on here, on the stage right now, none of them are running.
Because you just appointed them.
So, Mayor, to the outside world, this kind of does look like, because the CTU was your biggest backer, to some it may look like a coup by the CTU to get rid of the board.
By the way, CTU is the Chicago Teachers Union, not to be confused with the actual Chicago School Board.
Members who would not do your bidding and fire Pedro Martinez. Can you respond to that?
What's the question?
The question is, this is looks like a coup by the CTU to get rid of Pedro Martinez. Was there collaboration with the CTU on your part to make this happen so that you could fire Pedro Martinez?
So every single mayor in the history of Chicago has had the authority to appoint board members.
Here he goes.
To multiple boards. Guess who still has that authority? The mayor. This mayor does. Thank you.
Reminder.
This is actually a lot of what I talked about in the videos on the Dalton mayor who's been making such a fucking ruckus. It's like, you're not wrong in using the defense, Johnson, that, like, you're only as corrupt as the previous mayors. And as a black man, I should be able to engage in the exact same corruption as everyone else before me did. And it's like, you're not wrong in that you're not doing anything that's necessarily, like, heinous compared to previous leaders in Illinois, but at the same time, it's not a good look. You're still allowed to be criticized if you're engaging in the exact same corruption. If you're doing that, you are just as vulnerable. Like, it's just sad. It's just sad to see the Shield, especially when he is so pretending. He talks so much about, I have power, and yet he is steeped in victim mentality. You guys are just mad because I'm a black man doing this. No, you're engaging in the exact same corruption. You get the exact same journalistic roasting, that any of them would have got for engaging in this crap. It's just ridiculous, and it only gets worse.
One question, one follow-up. I'm wondering if any of the board members can answer this question. Actually, if all of you can, maybe even just a show of your hands. How many of you support taking out a
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
You should do exactly that.
Question for the mayor of Chicago. You can ask me a question. What you are not going to do is litigate what the board has the authority to do once they're appointed. You can ask that once they are appointed. No.
You can ask what their powers are after you appoint them.
Do you have a question for me?
Okay, I'm sorry, you brought them up here and it is a
Do you have a question for me? Ask me the question.
Okay.
Ask me if I support, I'm going to help you out.
Yeah.
Ask me the question if I believe that we should invest in our children and make sure we don't lay off brown and black women. Yes. Yes. I'm not going to tolerate cuts. That's what the issue has been in this city. You know what a better question would be? What are you willing to do with your power to ensure that a school district that stuffed black children in Willis wagons, what you should be asking me is, what are you willing to do where you had a district that have laid off black women? You should be asking me, what am I prepared and willing to do to ensure that our children get the education that they deserve? Anything necessary.
To be absolutely clear, the anything necessary he is planning to do is take out a short-term, high-interest loan in order to pay for 10% raises for members of the Chicago Teachers Union, of which he was once a high-ranking member before that board helped to put him, for that union, helped to make him mayor of the city. This is favoritism. This is the exact same corrupt shit that we always fucking get. It is a hopeful Democrat engaging in exactly the same corruption and being mad when they're called out for it. And it's just sad to see. It's sad and it's pathetic. And the fact that he's using this, brown and black women as an excuse. No, you are taking out a loan to fill budget gaps. And what makes it worse is that historically, Chicago is a shrinking city. Illinois is a shrinking state. One of the fastest shrinking in the nation, actually. It's just... okay, rolling past that. It's sad because Chicago is already a city that's smaller than it was 20 years ago. And yet the budget for Chicago, for most of Chicago's services, including public schools, has gone up. Chicago is spent, and it's been allowed to, it's been able to, because Chicago, the taxes that they're collecting have gone up. They've increased property taxes, and properties are often worth more now than they were 20, 30 years ago. But at the same time, Chicago is spending more money on less students. It's spending more money across the board on a lot of its services, on a smaller population. And yet it is still demanding more money because it is so addicted to the federal printing press. This is why I find it so dangerous. While it is factually correct that the federal government can't run out of money because they can always turn on the printing press, this is the exact inflationary policy I talk about. This is a city becoming addicted to the federal printing press, and now here's its Democrat leader going out and saying, no, I want to hack off my slice for my particular union, for my particular ethnic group. Not even for ethnic group, just for his union. It's not even you're not defending all black women. You're defending black women who are teachers within the union that helped to put you in power. Same old school mob shit that Illinois has always done. State's been run by the mob for years. It's the same shit. It is a lateral move. You have done nothing new. And yet when he's criticized for doing the exact same exploitative shit, the exact same corrupt shit, he says that he's being targeted because he's a black man. And trust me, like, I am fully aware of how fucking racist Illinois is. I am fully aware of how racist the United States is. Fully aware. But this is bullshit. This man is full of crap. This is just another case of, it's got nothing to do with being black. It's just another case of Democrats engaging in the exact same corruption that they claim to hate. Another case of them treating the federal pie, the federal budget, like it's an elephant carcass on the African savannah, and they're going to hack themselves off a piece. That's all it is to them. Nothing to do with being black whatsoever. Everything to do with just the Democrats being the Democrats. And it sucks. I hate it. It just sucks. Ugh. Yeah, no, that's exactly why. So, very specifically, we'll check some other news sources later. So we'll just do it now. Like, we can pop in and out of this. It's a 45-minute press conference. But, yeah, Chicago. So, essentially, and I'm going to look up a couple of sources here because I don't want to misrepresent anything. But what's interesting is that, yes, you are right. Part of the reason that Chicago was cut off from federal money was because they overspent on migrants. And they overspent specifically with COVID relief money. Why the fuck Chicago had so much COVID relief money on hand that they could spend hundreds of millions on the migrants, I have no idea. But clearly they expected that money to never run out. It's interesting. But let's look up some actual sources, because like I said, I don't want to misrepresent anything. So, but there have been some really interesting pieces about the COVID relief funds. Misspelled relief. Funds, Chicago. See if there's anything that's recent. Anything from the past, like, year? But no, you are right about the fact that they overspending on spending COVID relief money. Yeah, here's some. Let's check this out.
We begin here tonight at 6 with the migrant crisis. CBS 2 has learned the city has spent more than they planned to care for asylum seekers, now having to dip into federal COVID funds. And with just a few days left until the new year, Mayor Brandon Johnson says Chicago is also running out of room to house people. CBS 2's Sabrina Franza live for us tonight in the newsroom. Sabrina?
Joe, the city of Chicago had to take $95 million from their American Rescue Plan pot this year. Sources
This
say
is
much
not.
of
This
that
report's
spending is
9
going to
months
cover
ago.
staffing at the
This report is from 9 months ago. Why did the city even have $95 million of COVID relief money sitting around? Of course, we know why, and I've talked about that before. That goes back into the history of Washington, D.C. needing to maintain its foothold in the Midwest, so it pumps Chicago full of money, and now Chicago is steeped in inflationary policy. That's its own thing. But yeah.
city's migrant shelter. The Johnson administration is looking to repurpose COVID relief money without putting it to city council for a vote.
We have infrastructure in our local communities that are not designed to carry such a burden.
Then don't accept the people in. I am for bringing in migrants. I am for, especially in Illinois. Like I said, Illinois is a shrinking state and Chicago is a shrinking city. I am for bringing in hardworking migrants who want to come in and live the American dream. 100% for it. But if you don't have the infrastructure to take them in, it's cruel to do so. To the migrants even. It's cruel to them. Like making them like, there were all kinds of reports all over the city, all over the state, migrants sleeping in the street. I still see them here. I'm down 2 hours south of Chicago in Champaign. I still see random Venezuelans just wandering around. No, who knows what they're doing. And winter's about to hit. And Midwest winters are a heck of a lot worse than Venezuela. I pity these people. I feel awful for them because they got shipped in here as political pawns of Texas, then got used as political pawns of Illinois, being... the migrants themselves aren't players in this immigration crisis. They're the ball getting kicked back and forth by the political power players. It's awful. It's just horrible. Like, if you don't have the infrastructure to take them in, send them home. Create an avenue. Put them in some kind of a queue, you know? Send them back to Venezuela for now. Get them, like, recorded or in some kind of a queue. and so that you can build the infrastructure here, or hire them. You know, you could create some kind of a system. Oh yeah, it's all kinds of crap. Create some kind of a system where you can give these people the money and the time and the help that they need to build buildings or renovate buildings that are falling down. There are plenty of buildings falling down in Chicago. You know, there's plenty of infrastructure that can be repaired. You could put these people to work, working to build the infrastructure you need to then bring in more people. You know, and that might have actually been a good use of the COVID relief money. But it's just sad. Again, though, this report's only from 9 months ago, so why the hell they were still... So this would still have been in 2024. Why the hell they had hundreds of millions of dollars of COVID relief money sitting around?
Mayor Brandon Johnson in his latest plea to Washington, asking the federal government to help fund a crisis he has said is costing the city around $40 million a month.
Local municipalities are not structured to be able to carry the weight of a crisis like this.
With just days left until the new year, the Johnson administration tells CBS 2 that the city took in more tax dollars than they were expecting in 2023. That allowed them to use $95 million of money, which was given to the city through the American Rescue Plan for day-to-day government operations, to cover migrant expenses instead.
That's a shame. That's a shame. Chicago is a city that's already hurting. Again, I'm for bringing in migrants, but man, to use that money in a city whose infrastructure is falling apart, I don't like them using that money on migrants. Like, use it on American citizens. I'm sorry. Like, and again, I'm for bringing in migrants who want to work hard and live the American dream. Fucking A. Love that. All of our, well, most Americans. Well, I mean, even Native Americans, most of them have some white in them. All of us, all of us have ancestors who were foreigners at some point. I'm for bringing them in, but my God, have a fucking plan and don't bring them in at the cost of Americans, and especially American taxpayers and American citizens. Don't do that. Anyway, let's continue with this story.
That most of that COVID money went towards favored healthcare staffing, the Kansas-based firm tasked with caring for migrants at city-run shelters. Next year, city...
Oh, yeah, this is another controversy. They were using, Kansas-based firm. They were hiring out-of-state companies to come in and work on Illinois' current migrant crisis, which is just, you couldn't even keep the money in the state by hiring an Illinois-based company. You couldn't. That feels like basic stuff, man. Come on. Anyway,
budget only allocated $150 million to assist migrants.
The international crisis that we are experiencing right now is being subsidized by local economies. That is not sustainable.
For the first time,
no, it's not.
Said that Chicago's running out of space.
Families that are, they're living or staying in buses right now. That's been difficult to hear.
Pastor John Zayas is the senior pastor of Grace and Peace Church, one of the 10 churches working with the Johnson administration to help house and place migrants. 245 asylum seekers are in their care right now.
I do also love that the Democrats love churches when they need labor all of a sudden. When they need that organizational power, then you call the churches.
Goal is $375.
We understand what the bottlenecks, what's creating this bottleneck. It's the lack of, the work permits. If the federal government doesn't move fast enough, it's too slow for what's happening here, and folks are finding themselves on the street because the government's not responding.
Now, sources tell CBS 2 the Johnson administration is thinking about consolidating shelters or even closing some of them in the new year. We reached out to the mayor's office about all of that, and they told us there are no plans right now to close anything. In the newsroom, Sabrina Franza, CBS 2 News.
Sabrina, thank you.
I don't know why in the world Chicago... Well, I mean, again, we know why Chicago is swimming in COVID relief money, because Washington, D.C. needs Illinois to continue to be blue so they can maintain their power base. But still, this is just... Oh, God, all the stuff with FEMA. Vote people who care about the American people. Don't vote for people just because they agree with you. Vote for who cares about the American people. Who cares about taxpayers? Who cares about citizens? And part of caring about citizens also means wanting America to expand and grow So if we have a shrinking city like Chicago and a shrinking state like Illinois, that means bringing in people. But have a fucking plan, man. Have a fucking plan. Oh, here's some information on the actual budget deficit that led to the need for this short-term high-interest loan. Oh, there's another one here. We'll check that out in a
News at
sec.
City Hall. Mayor Brandon Johnson is out with part of a plan to make up for a nearly $1 billion budget shortfall for next year.
Sabrina Franza is in the newsroom with what is
See a
at the
lot of
top
Sabrina.
his list. Sabrina?
Jim Murray, number one is a hiring freeze. The city also wants stringent limitations on non-essential travel and some overtime expenses.
What traveling are we doing based on this significant budget gap? Why is that just now being discussed when we're going to be starting budget hearings in a matter of weeks?
That's a pretty good point. Why are we just now worried about about traveling expenses?
More
That's
and
pretty.
more in my community is, I don't want to see a massive property tax increase.
When the city first announced the budget gap late last month, Mayor Brandon Johnson neither confirmed nor denied that he would consider a property tax increase, though that was a promise that he ran on in his race for mayor and something he touted during his first year in office. He did not say
Everybody
how he
promises
planned to
property
close the
taxes
budget
won't go
gap
up.
at the time.
Everybody
Right now,
promises
the city
taxes
is
won't go
looking at
up.
an almost
Everybody
$23
does.
million deficit at the end of this fiscal year, in addition to a $982 million shortfall in 2025.
Oh, it's Hadestown.
Previously, the city has credited those numbers to drops in tax revenue. 2025 also marks the end of COVID relief money, which the city had been benefiting from. For 2025 also marks the end of COVID relief money.
Why did 2025 mark the end of COVID relief money? Why 2025? Jesus. That's interesting, though. I didn't know that. So apparently federal COVID relief money was set to run out in 2025, but Chicago must have just spent it all early, and that's why they have this budget deficit. That's very interesting. Seriously. It's just ridiculous. It's just a sad case where it's like you have a lot of really well-meaning people in the suburbs who will... And New York is facing exactly the same issue. People vote regularly to bring in migrants, to help people, to keep every single program open. They'll vote to expand every single program. If they hear even a whiff of something may close in the government, oh my God, throw money at it, you know? It's a well-meaning group of voters who are pushing for this stuff, but, you know, then the bill comes due. You know, it inevitably does, and they're like, why are my taxes going up? Well, because you're opening an office to handle every single tiny problem in the government when the community should be handling half of this shit. It's just terrible.
Which the city had been benefiting from for years.
Well, I think it's important that the city looks for every resource to make sure that we balance the budget without sacrificing important services for the city and especially not burdening working class families across the city that are already struggling to make ends meet.
By way of overtime costs, the city says it would not consider overtime cuts to public safety operations. Staff in Chicago public schools have already raised red flags about open positions that the city would not fill because of a hiring freeze, though it's unclear what other agencies will be affected. We're going to keep digging into this, and we'll have more information on the CBS News at 10 p.m. Jim, Marie.
It's crazy.
Sabrina, thanks so much.
All right, let's get back. Actually, I'm going to go to the bathroom real fast. And then we're going to get back to this press conference because it's absolutely fascinating. do have to check one more thing. There we go.
I'm going to ask my own questions. Thank you. The next question, I know that you've mentioned several times.
Cloverfield review. I started it. I thought it was. I'm not really. I don't find J.J. Abrams to be a particularly compelling director. So I don't really. Cloverfield kind of bores me. We can watch some fun movies. I want to get through this, but be thinking if you guys have any other videos that we should watch together. I'm 100% down for that outside of politics stuff. So feel free to leave those suggestions in the chat or in the Discord, ever, at any point, by the way, because I would love to have more stuff other than just playing games that we can do.
Very hard for it, went down to Springfield. Many are calling what this is right now hypocritical, that you could have just let the process play out and let the election happen in November and then allow the 21 members to take office in January.
I use my authority that the people of Chicago gave me, which is to hurry up and
Yeah, Matt, I know it's you. I saw you change your name on the Discord, too.
So
Don't worry.
Here's the problem with that. Some of the same individuals who claim to support an elected representative school board only got the gospel once I became mayor of Chicago. These are the same individuals in Springfield that did not fight for adequate funding.
Gotta love that. Gotta love that. This is what I always complain about. And this is that good old Chicago versus the rest of the state feud. I always love that. This is actually one of the reasons I ended up unsubscribing from a channel that I really, really liked recently, because some of his stuff went down a path I did not approve of, but he's free to believe what he does. But this guy, City Nerd, I love City Nerd's content. I love his stuff about cities. I love the way he talks about them, and I love his video. We're gonna watch some City Nerd after this, because I do still love his channel. Love a lot of his older stuff, but some of he's done some political stuff recently that I just don't find tasteful. Like, still being mad about Project 2025. My God, guy, fucking Democrats are still mad about Project 2025. Got disavowed a long time ago. But, yeah, no, this is that feud between Chicago and the rest of the state. And I've heard there's a lot of urbanist YouTubers who, when talking about Chicago, will always make excuses for it. I don't know who that is, but it's yeah, a lot of like urbanist YouTubers, which there's a lot of urbanist YouTubers tend to veer left. I don't know why. I'm not making any arguments there. I'm not saying anything. It's just something I've noticed, not meant to be any kind of a statement. But a lot of them make a lot of excuses for Chicago. You know, the ones you would expect. Oh, you know, the crime reports are bad. Oh, the crime reports don't really mean what they think it does. Oh, people just hate on the city. Oh, the corruption's not that bad. Oh, when I went there, when I visited, it was so nice. People were so friendly. And the people are friendly because it's the Midwest. Everybody's friendly. Yeah, everyone's gonna say they're sorry if they so much as scratch you on the street. But yeah, no, it's Chicago and the rest of the state. Like the relationship is getting extremely fraught. Oh, and I also want to. There was also that clip of I'm really gonna try to minimize the tangents into other aspects here, but also like I know there's a lot of people who watch my stuff, these streams afterwards, so I want to make sure I'm covering everything to give like a good comprehensive overview. But this Pritzker like directly commented on this loan. What is it? Hassan Minhaj interviewed the governor? Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Damn it. Okay, so we have to watch that later. We're gonna watch this. Pritzker loan Chicago. No, he directly commented on here it is. this exact turmoil that
At
the
issue right now, the Chicago Teachers Union wants a bigger contract, and the mayor and CTU want Pedro Martinez to authorize a high-interest short-term loan to partially pay for it. Now, the strategy here appears to be back the state into a corner to give CPS more money to pay that loan off. Now, today, Governor Pritzker says this loan is not a good idea.
Borrowing to pay for operating expenses in a business, in government, et cetera, is not a great idea unless you know how you're going to pay for that, because it's going to.
They know they're going to pay for that. They're going to get a big swelling of dollars fresh off the federal printing press from out of Washington D.C. The same way Chicago's paid its bills for years. Same old mob shit.
Beyond that, the governor declined to get in the middle of the fray here, calling it, quote, challenging to fire the CEO in the middle of a contract negotiation. Now, CTU President Stacey Davis Gates has criticized the governor for not handing the schools $1 billion more that she says it owes.
To be clear, again, Chicago is a shrinking city, has been for decades, and yet Chicago public schools have more money than they've ever had for less students than they had 20 years ago. And they still are saying they want more money. It's ridiculous. Yeah, gangsters, abso-fucking-lutely. This is the same shit the mob does. When the mob, start a union, get a union contract, whether it be garbage pickup, construction, whatever, have your guys just get a big fat government contract, have your guys just not do the work and pocket the money. That's exactly what fucking happens. That is exactly what's happening here. The teachers union wants to engage in the exact same corruption. That is exactly what is happening. No, when I say the Democrats are the fucking mob, this is it. Everyone's just trying to hack off their piece of the fucking federal pie. Like, they really are. Like, the Democrats really are just the fucking mob. It's horrible. Or at least in Illinois they are. Okay. The specific ones that I know of and cover here in Illinois are basically the mob. And oftentimes have connections to the mob. And even the ones who don't have connections to the mob try to act like the mob and tell people that when they act like the mob, they tell everyone that you just don't want me acting like the mob because I'm a black man. You fucking serious? It was the same for that Dalton mayor that everyone's been talking about. The same for Brandon Johnson here. You just don't like that I'm doing the exact same thing everyone else did, and it's like, you're not wrong, but like, yeah, I've heard Oklahoma had some famous gangsters. Oh yeah. Anyway, though, we should get back, but yeah, it's crazy. I think after this is done, we're gonna watch something lighter. Maybe we'll do some City Nerd, because I don't agree with where his content is going, but I do like a lot of his stuff. So we'll watch some of that, do something lighter, and then I think we'll wrap back around and do that interview with the Illinois governor, because it seems interesting. I love Hassan Minhaj.
Closings were taking place. None of them stood up in that moment to say, you know what, maybe the authority of the mayor is too much. Now you actually have a mayor who recognizes democracy, have given the people exactly what they asked for and what they voted for. And now all of a sudden they want to rehash the policies of Bruce Rauner, who called for state control and takeover. So we're not going down that route. We're going to invest in our children. As a parent, as a public school teacher, I'm going to do right by the people of Chicago. The people of Chicago voted for a parent. They got one of their own.
Yeah, no, dude, you're good. Dude, work comes first. I get it. If we're still on in a couple hours, feel free to join back in, man. Love to have you. But enjoy work. Hope things go well.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
Mayor, you said repeatedly that you don't comment on personnel issues, but over the past month, we've seen a majority of city council.
Oh, and thank you for popping in at work.
We saw Pedro
Thank you.
Martinez weigh in publicly about this dispute. Could you explain once and for all why you still don't think it's appropriate to talk about why you're dissatisfied with Pedro Martinez's performance?
He didn't want to take out the loan.
I'm always willing to talk about making sure that every single school has a social worker and a counselor and a nurse. Making sure that every single school has a library and a librarian. Making sure that our schools have real college to careers as well as opportunities for the trades, for arts. Imagine a school district that.
But how are you going to pay for all that? You got to pay for that.
Where every aspect of their being gets to come to life. That's the picture that.
The fuck are you talking about, Johnson?
As a public school teacher.
Okay, but half this is just going to go to paying the individual teachers more. Like, pensions in Chicago are insane. It is actually quite common for teachers in the state of Illinois to retire in one district with a fat pension, then just go and work at another one and collect and basically work toward two pensions. Like, retire at like 50 something with a full pension, and then just go work somewhere else and collect a salary somewhere else. It's crazy. The unions in Illinois are just I am not for Trump style union busting, but unions have a time and place, and unions can be used. Unions can drain the funds of the state. It's exactly what they're doing now. It's unions are just as susceptible to corruption as any system, and should be taken with skepticism. Anyway.
When students
yeah, taxes get raised, exactly.
They don't ask who the CEO of the Chicago Public Schools is. When children show up hungry and unhoused, they don't ask who the board members are. You know what they ask for? Will you make sure you build affordable homes in the city, which we're doing? Will you invest in restoring an equitable, just system that allows for real creativity to be expressed? And so, as I've said before, people who decide to make it personal about one individual and carry out private conversations publicly, just put it to you this way. I was raised better than that.
What specifically did he do or not do that, runs up against that vision?
This transition that...
I don't know who this girl is, but she's fucking roasting him, and I like her. She sounds young, but man, she is asking some really good questions.
What specifically did he do or not do that, runs up against that vision?
He didn't want to approve this massive loan. Short-term, high-interest loan.
I am shepherding right now. It's about ensuring that every single child in this city gets exactly what they deserve.
It's not about kids. It's about you and your cronies wanting their slice of the fucking federal pie.
Here. Stay focused for a minute. Do you know what it's like as a parent? When your child can play an instrument like the violin.
Come on now.
But can't go to a neighborhood school because that school doesn't offer orchestra. You know what that's like? I know what that's like. That's why my son, we had to travel to the south side because he just happens to be good at string instruments. And he plays soccer. And he's in honors AP government. I don't know why anybody recommended him for AP government. I have some suspicion. But we don't have enough schools.
You're not that good a leader, Johnson. You're not even that good a speaker. You're a fucking hair model with delusions of grandeur. Not even a good hair model.
Do you know, there is another public educator that I'm working with really closely, and that's Juan Salgado. Do you know we have a 48% increase since I've been in office of people enrolled in community colleges? And you know the number one group, a subgroup of individuals who are enrolling in colleges, community colleges? Black men. It's the highest group because I've given clear directives. Grab our brothers by the hand.
Yes, sir.
Take them to where they need to go and support them along the way and until they reach their full potential.
If that's true, that's great. First of all, let's look up who's Juan Salgado. Who is he talking about? City Colleges of Chicago. Improving education and economic opportunities in low-income communities. That's great. If that's what's happening, that's great. Oh, there's also a random teen of the same name who got killed. Wow. Speaking of crime. Wow. Jesus. Juan Salgado. Let me see this. Community college enrollment. Well, that's interesting. Oh, this is last year. More than double state average. Okay, that's great. I think that was before Johnson was in office. This was November of last year. So Chicago was on the upswing as far as enrollment already, it looks like, before he was in office. Because in 2022, it was up 13% from what that said. Pathway to engineering degree. Ah, there's one there. Engineering careers. Offers high-quality, affordable engineering education with a pathway to Illinois top-rank engineering bachelor's degree program. Okay. I mean, these things are... I hope they're working. These things are always kind of a crapshoot. And how much they're actually doing to improve these communities is always... who knows? But I hope it's going well. I hope the things he's saying are good. Or right.
That's all this is about. Ensuring that our children receive their full potential. Go ahead. Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Johnson.
Hi, what's your name?
Nell Salzman with the Tribune.
Hey, Nell.
Thank you so much for answering questions. So I'm wondering if City Council should get to have a hearing before these appointees are installed.
The City Council can have as many hearings as they want. There's only one person who has the authority by state law to make appointments.
Better listen.
That's the mayor of Chicago, and that's me.
Hi, Mayor Johnson. Elizabeth Campbell with Bloomberg News. So you say you're not going to tolerate cuts. So what are you going to ask the new board to do to ensure that you don't have to do cuts given the $500 million deficit next year and the following year? Are you going to ask them to take out that short-term loan? Are you going to ask them to address the CEO's...
Oh, he got nervous there. Oh, you saw that on his face. He got nervous as soon as she mentioned the loan.
...deficit next year and the following year. Are you going to ask them to take out that short-term loan? Are you going
Ooh, there it was.
to address the CEO's employment? Can you just provide some
Yeah, sure. Well, their job, the board's job, like I mean, all board members, no matter what kind of board you sit on, is to evaluate the executive. That's their job, their duty. They will do that. As far as what we do to ensure that our children have social workers, nurses, counselors, sports, and extracurricular activities,
as long as we can pay for it.
everything.
As long as you can pay for it. Without begging the state for money. Without begging Washington, D.C. for money.
That we need to invest in more in our public schools throughout the state of Illinois.
I mean, you do.
You know how I know they believed it? Because they agreed to a law that I helped pass. It's called, hold on, slow down, stay with me. Yeah, I've been here long enough anyways, you might as well just wait a few more minutes. So this evidence-based funding model that allows for equity, the state's calculation is $3.6 billion, of which $1.1 billion is dedicated for the people of Chicago. So this board and the people of Chicago, my administration, will continue to advocate in Springfield for more resources. As far as what we are prepared and willing to do to ensure that every single child gets what they deserve, everything is on the table. And let me just say this last point.
Say it's the loan. Just be honest, man.
Back in the 2000s, was a board chair, president, by the name of David Vitale.
Just admit you're okay with you want to take out the loan. Just be honest about it, man.
Swaps, these high interest schemes.
Who cares what some other guy did in the 2000s?
Of which cost the taxpayers millions of dollars.
Don't you? Oh, yeah, I love that. The Fox News style whataboutism. Great. Who cares? Just be honest if you want to take out the fucking loan. Just be honest. Run on it as a platform. Like, be honest with people. Be honest with the taxpayer. Don't do shit like this.
Primarily for women, to give to developers and corporations.
Seriously, about the kids, not about the kids. It's about his cronies getting a payout.
Who took out interest swap rates that cost the taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars. You had Paul Vallis, who took dollars that were dedicated for our public school system, particularly our workers, took those dollars, gave it to developers, caused the taxpayers to have mounds and mounds of debt, and then the brother who was in high school when they did that is now responsible to fix it. All I'm I'm simply trying to say to you and explain to the people of Chicago that the so-called experts ran this city and this school district in the ground.
Okay, so we're gonna watch that again, this specific rant that he goes on, because what I find really, really interesting is that what we essentially have here is the left engaging, because he is as Democrat as they come. It's interesting seeing the side that has been so pro-science now engaging in essentially, engaging in conspiratorial thinking. And the problem is, even though a lot of what he's going to use to justify his argument is true, he is selectively going through and finding specific things, whether it be historical events, choices by other leaders. He is just going through and selectively picking things, even if they are true, that corroborate what he says, and using these ridiculous whataboutisms. And it is the exact same kind of it is the same vein as conspiratorial thinking. He's not making shit up. He's not going to places that are absolutely insane, like a lot of the conspiratorial thinkers on the right do, in the wake of Trump especially. But even so, he's engaged in the same, need to justify his own ideology over finding truth. And that sucks. That's awful. I want to go back over this. I want to watch this one more time, and it's just such an interesting thing to just think of, like, how much he sounds like a conspiracy theorist while speaking about true events, because he is so selectively grabbing stuff.
Before that, was a board chair president by the name of David Vitale. He took out what...
And based on how many people jumped behind him right then, I'm assuming this has been a talking point that they've used before behind closed doors. Maybe even in front, but this is a talking point. This is the story they say, well, how could people be mad? Didn't you hear about David Vitale or whatever? It's the same conspiratorial nonsense. Anyway.
Were essentially toxic swaps, these high-interest schemes of loans, of which cost the taxpayers millions of dollars. Before that, there was another individual who was responsible for the finances. His name was Paul Vallis. And he instructed the mayor to take dollars out of retirement security, primarily for women, to give to developers and corporations. So you had David Vitale, who took out interest swap rates that cost the taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars. You had Paul Vallis, who took dollars that were dedicated for our public school system, particularly our workers, took those dollars, gave it to developers, caused the taxpayers to have mounds and mounds of debt, and then the brother who was in high school when they did that is now responsible to fix it. All I'm simply trying to say to you and explain to the people of Chicago that the so-called experts ran this city and this school district in the ground.
And fascinating to end that rant with so-called experts. The left has proclaimed themselves the pro-science side for quite a long time now. It is fascinating to hear a black mayor of the largest city in a deeply Democrat-run state, using the term so-called experts. That is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. This is where we are now.
Hold on, because I know you respect me. I do, because you're listening to me. I appreciate that. I wish more people would actually do that. The financial schemes that the so-called experts engaged in caused the crisis that we're in right now. And so simply put, what this board is prepared and willing to do is to do whatever is necessary to fix the structural damage that others first created, while also building a pathway forward so that our children can participate in the $20 billion of new construction that I brought to this city in the first 15 months in office.
Thank you, Mayor. So just one follow-up. Is the short-term high-interest loan one of the things that
Great
is
question.
on the table? If you say everything is on the table, so what is on the table? What should be on the
so
table?
let me ask you this. What is your definition of everything? Right.
Ugh, what is that
What
face?
is your definition of everything? What does everything mean?
Everything, yes.
All right, next question.
Just say it includes the loan, you asshole, you smug prick.
Am I missing something? There's only 6 up there? Where
Yeah, this is the
7?
first. This is the first batch.
Okay.
So there will be others. There will be others. Oh, there are plenty of people who want to be on the school board. We don't have an issue with that. Next question.
But they've been vetted. You have vet these 6 individuals ahead of the November of the 11 you can select in November. You said the first round. What does that mean?
Which means that I have the authority to vet as many people as I want until we get to either 7 or in this short run or 11 in the future.
Just following up on Elizabeth's question a little bit. So if the state does not give you the money, how are we
first of all, they're
paying
not
for this?
giving me the money.
Sure,
Okay.
CPS.
How is it clear?
Yes.
So
How's
this is
the city
really
Okay, but you're planning on taking out a loan believing that you can pressure either the state or the Fed to then give you money to pay that loan back. But more than likely, he's just going to bury the city.
So, look, there are a number of things that I've considered, whether it's TIF surplus. That's just one option. Many of you all know that I've been on the front line of ensuring that TIF dollars go to the taxing bodies. And so we have options on the table. That's just one of them. But as I said, everything is on the table. But let me just be very clear. The state of Minnesota figured it out. Their governor figured it out. Their General Assembly figured it out. Because everybody in America knows that ESSER is running out. Everyone. Do you all understand something? As much as I know I say Chicago is the greatest freaking city in the world, we're not the only city in the world. Every single school district in America is experiencing the same crisis. That with ESSER and federal dollars running out, you have 2 visions. You can go back to the old days where they were closing schools and privatizing public assets. One of the chief architects of that was Arnie Duncan. Yes, sir. One of the chief architects of the school D4 movement was Arnie Duncan.
Okay, I'll bite. Am I supposed to know who that is? Duncan. Arnie. He was Secretary of Education for President Obama. Interesting. Wow, okay, so this is the first thing Duncan says in this interview. Since 2016, my primary focus has been on reducing gun violence in Chicago. Interesting. Out of the streets and into the legal economy. This very much came from a place of personal pain. As a teenager, I used to play basketball on the south and west sides, and the older guys would protect me and give me safe passage. And then he started losing them to gun violence. Wow. He's a former CEO of Chicago Public Schools. I lost students to gun violence on average every 2 weeks. Jesus. When I returned to Chicago in 2016, gun violence was worse than I'd ever seen it. Interesting. Has a chance to live normally. Doesn't seem that bad. I don't see any news stories about him being crazy, just some stuff about him wanting to reduce gun violence. Let's see.
Civic committee never said a word when those schemes were happening. Not one word.
He worked for Obama.
So
which is interesting. Again, left-on-left violence.
The state of Minnesota, the state of Michigan, the state of California. I have to believe that we as a state can come together to make sure that the district in the Southland, the western suburbs, and Cairo, and East St. Louis,
It's pronounced Cairo.
Waukegan, and District 299 gets exactly what it deserves.
Hi, Mayor Johnson.
How many of y'all?
I love that Cairo, Illinois is the southernmost city in Illinois, and the mayor of Chicago mispronounced that. I find that extremely funny.
All came today. What is this?
We're all here.
Thank you for being here.
Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any of us have been able to get a hold of and have a conversation with the outgoing school board members since the press release came out on Friday.
Yes.
In your conversations with them, were you able to get a sense of why not a single one of them wants to continue serving the board beyond this fall?
We've done a lot of amazing things together. It was this board that took my direction when we put forth a resolution saying we have to invest in neighborhood schools. It was this board that took my direction when we said that policing in schools doesn't create the safest of environments. It was this board that said that we have to move away from the school-based or student-based budgeting to more of an equitable budgeting system. It was this board that took my direction when we said that our teachers
And now they all resign.
deserve paternity leave. It was this board that took my direction when I said we have to begin to move a process to improve special education. 25–30% of black children are testing for IEPs. So that was important to me. It was this board that did that. So we did a lot of great things together. Now it's time to transition. That's all it is.
To a board that will let
It's
you
a
do even
transition.
more stuff.
And here's the part that's neat about this transition. The people of Chicago gave me the authority to do it.
You better listen.
When they voted for me. And so if there are individuals who are transitioning out that wish to share their personal experience, they can do that. But I'm very proud of their service and their work and what we've been able to do in a very short period of time. Thank you for that question.
Left-on-left violence. You're not left enough. You voted me in, let me do what I want.
Nader, you said at the Sun-Times, you've said you're worried about cuts, and that's the big reason that this all is happening right now. You don't want to see people laid off, furloughs, that sort of thing. Do you have any sense of the magnitude of cuts you would be expecting if there were to be a shortage of money in the spring?
I don't worry. I don't worry. God has not given me a spirit of fear. So I'm not worried at all. I just want to clarify that, okay? But you know who, the people who do worry in this city? It's the black children who have to beg for everything.
Everything.
It's the children who don't have somewhere to lay their head. Those are the people who worry.
You fucking kidding me?
Who did everything in their power to show up for this school district, and then the school district turns on them and says, you don't deserve the job. That's the worry for them. It's the child who just wants someone to see them because they're depressed. And we don't have behavioral counselors in buildings. And all
We need more weird specialist stuff for the schools, or else that's why kids aren't succeeding.
Do you understand how
More
sick
weird
that is?
specialists that we can hire.
We're talking about children and families who've had to worry administration after administration if someone actually gave a damn. I give a damn.
Ugh.
And so,
Crocodile tears. Every one of them.
whatever that number is, I'm not going to tolerate it. Whether it's 1,000, 3,000, whatever it is, we've had enough of that. We've had enough of it. Do you have a follow-up, Nader?
Well, I do, but do you have a sense of the magnitude of cuts that would be?
My original question.
Whatever it is, it's too much.
Any cuts at all are too much.
Whatever it is.
Any cuts at all to the public school board, too much. Fucking selfish
resignations
asshole.
are down in Springfield. The governor has commented on it. State reps, state senators. You've said that that criticism is unfair and that you have the ability to make appointments to the board. But are you worried that that criticism will deepen any distrust or any poor relationships with Springfield in your attempts to gain more funding?
So we've had administrations that shut down 50. They wanted 150, by the way. Stay with me. Could you just see me for a second?
Douchebag.
We've had administrations who have shut down scores of schools.
The black children!
Thousands of black educators have lost their jobs because of the failures of CEOs and boards. Deep scars. From 2013, 1,100 black students are missing. No one knows where they are. 236 of them were Westsiders like me. They had an opportunity to be concerned.
Crocodile tears.
They had one. And they didn't act. And you know how I know they didn't act? Because
Welcome
I was
back.
in front of those chambers taking arrests with parents. And from the elevators of City Hall taking arrests. When Jeanette Taylor could not continue on the hunger strike, I joined it to keep a school open on the south side of Chicago. Now look.
They're trying to close schools because they can't afford to keep them open. In part because there's all these demands that, oh, well, kids aren't getting the education they need because teachers don't have incredible pensions. Because, you know, I understand the arguments of schools being understaffed and the arguments of schools not having the supplies they need. Teachers buying... Well, I am horrified every time I hear about teachers having to buy their own supplies, pencils, pens, whatnot. But this ridiculous shit about, like, teachers not having pensions that, like... The pensions have become too much. The unions are too powerful. I'm sorry, but they are. They gotta chill, because the whole fucking budget is being devoted to them to the point that the mayor is going to take out a short-term loan. Because, God forbid, the union not get everything that they want. Same old mob shit, just supporting the people who put him in power.
There's been talks about...
It's terrible.
You know, state takeover. Bruce Rauner tried that already. He did, and we rejected it.
Of course you did.
Let me just ask this question out loud, not for you to answer.
What?
So you have...
What do you mean not for you to answer? You're supposed to talk... They're journalists. Talk to them.
A black man who's a parent, a teacher, and the mayor of Chicago with the authority that the state gave me. And now they have concerns that I'm expressing that authority? That's just more rhetorical. All right, who has a question?
Fuck you. Fuck you.
All right.
They're allowed to have concerns about how you use that power.
A little bit of a behind-the-curtain view of how the selection process happened. You're sitting in an interview with one of these potential board members. What kind of questions are you asking them? How did these 6 people actually get chosen?
All right, so I didn't interview any of them. I have a team that does that, just like they did the other 6. I'm glad you want to know what happens behind the curtain, because you do know this process has existed for 75 years, right? You better listen. No, I'm just saying, but you do know, so you could actually go look it up.
Don't complain when people complain about you engaging in the exact same corruption. Don't call it racism. It's people being mad about corruption. They're allowed to do that, you douchebag.
But I'll do you a favor. I'll save you that effort. I'll save it for you.
He's absolutely part of the problem.
Took the transition report that my administration put together with how many were people on our transition team? 400 and something? So 400 and something people who are part of my overall transition committee. There's a component of them that focused on education. There's an entire book that you can actually look up and see everything that's in there. And then the board that I appointed, like every other mayor has been able to do, but we're going to just open up the curtain for you. We asked them questions based upon what the people voted for that's in my transition report. And then they get to respond to whether or not they see that transition report aligning with their values. And then recommendations come from there. Does that help you a little bit?
So are you saying that there's nothing that's currently happening, whether it be teacher negotiations or this ongoing back and forth with Pedro Martinez, that influence the decisions? This is solely made based on a transition plan that was released before you became mayor of the city?
Yes. My vision. Do you believe me? Okay.
We might play some games later. I do want to get through at least this,
point
though.
of clarification, there's 6 people up there. Who's the 7th person? Is someone going to stay on board?
There are a number of people
Right back.
who we are considering. There are multiple people who are being considered who want to serve in this capacity. Trust me, this is Chicago. You will have plenty of people who want to be appointed by the mayor of Chicago. We won't have issues finding people. I assure you that.
And that person's not ready today.
There are a number of people who could be on this stage.
You're not naming
the
them.
people who are on the stage today are the people who are on the stage today. But since your colleague asked about the curtain, I'll just open it wider. There are other people who will go through a vetting process, by the way, like every other mayor for the last 75 years has done.
Got it. And to my question, sir.
All right.
There are no doubt people looking at this as a power flex. You have the authority to do everything that you're doing, but it doesn't seem to solve the problem, right? This is a money issue. You need $175 million for the teacher pensions. You've got to fund the demands of the CTU and their contract, their salaries, the smaller class sizes. I mean, where's the power flex on Springfield, on Governor Pritzker? How do you get money to solve this problem? How does what you're doing, these actions, replacing your board, solve the problem, get the money that you need?
All right. So let me, if I just could indulge me for a second. The power doesn't have to be flexed. The power just is.
And if they don't believe it, that's your problem, you douchebag.
By state law. So this is not a flex. This is just power. Okay? It's like the power that a person has to go into a voting booth. They're not flexing power. They're voting and expressing their power. I'm expressing the democratic power that was duly given to me. Now, as far as how we get partners to see the vision, not just for Chicago, but for all of our school districts across the state, it's going to take all of us. See, this is the difference between me and other mayors. I don't have to do anything alone. I don't have to intimidate people, threaten people. I don't have to do that. The people of Chicago are tired of that. The people of Chicago actually voted for, you know what the greatest power in the world is? It's the power of love. The people of Chicago voted for a lover.
Hell yeah, dude. Hope it works out. Although, what the fuck is he doing?
So,
What? Johnson,
the
what?
people of Chicago voted for a lover.
What the fuck? Ugh.
And so,
What was that?
you know what the greatest power in the world is? It's the power of love. The people of Chicago voted for a lover.
He really thinks he's the next Obama. He really does.
Are there other people who love as much as I do? I hope so. We can all go down to Springfield and we just love each other together tomorrow.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning. And by the way, Craig, with that deep voice, the only thing you can do after what I just said is, you'll never find.
Oh, if only I could hold a tune. And it is still morning. So
This dude's
we
crazy.
got that. But not arguing the need for the kinds of investments you're talking about.
Sure.
But the question is, when does the bill come due for this borrowing in addition to the debt the system has? And when that time comes, how will it be paid?
Hell yeah, dude. Like I said,
People are
congratulations.
looking back
Fucking
on
A.
This year
No, that's
another year when the debt.
It's a great question. Look, that's why we need smart people on the board. And people who can actually help guide that. Look, I have a budget director in the office. I have a deputy mayor for infrastructure, a chief operations officer, a policy director. We have experts in their respective spaces. right, that can offer up recommendations. I have one of the most brilliant chief financial officers on my side on the 5th floor. So all of us are going to work together and figure that out. But what I do know is this. Here's what I do know. That we cannot kick the can down the road. Can't do that anymore. The taxpayers got the bill from those schemes from the 90s and 2000s. And the board, along with all of us, our city council members who can organize with us to take their respective wards to Springfield, all of our faith leaders are clearly committed to doing that work. When I say everything is on the table, everything is on the table. And the fact of the matter is, you all, the state of Illinois has to do more. And they agree. I think when I started organizing...
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Illinois was ranked 49th out of 50 in terms of school funding. 49th out of 50. I think we're now 32nd, somewhere in there. And that's not enough to give people high fives. It's a good, decent start. But there's more work to be done. Yep.
Mayor, no one doubts under state law you have this authority.
Yeah.
But when...
Are you sure about
Nice.
that? Okay, I'm just saying. No, I believe you understand that.
I understand.
But I would say just a friendly amendment. I don't believe that everybody believes that.
No, certainly that is the current law, although it is changing, and you help fight to change that law.
That's right.
But when 41 of 50 alder people write a letter saying, hold on, take a pause, we're concerned with this, does it give you pause?
No.
How come?
I'm going to tell you why. Is because how much longer are we going to make parents in the city of Chicago wait?
So, for those not familiar with what a I have mixed thoughts on DeSantis, but the aldermen are essentially like sub-mayors of little individual sections, pockets of Chicago, individual neighborhoods. What do you say? 41 out of 50 of these aldermen, these mini mayors in Chicago, wrote him a letter saying they don't think this fucking loan is a good idea.
50 alder people write a letter saying, hold on, take a pause, we're concerned with this. Does it...
41 out of 50! And it doesn't even concern him.
I'm going to tell you why. Is because...
Running the city into the fucking ground.
Parents in the city of Chicago wait. How much longer? So let me get you straight. So everybody agrees, and I think that this is what your colleague just said. Everybody agrees that there are real issues and problems of disinvestment, right? Do we all agree that schools are woefully underfunded? Can we all have some agreement around that? I think we do, right? The question is, how will other elected officials use their power, or if we use someone else's word, flex their power to make sure that parents do not have to wait any longer? And so that's why I'm glad there are elected officials up here with me, Alderman Will Hall, Cook County Commissioner Charles Stamps. There are a number of folks who recognize that waiting in this moment is the status quo, and I am not the status quo.
No, he's a lover.
Good morning, Mayor. To reference the letter that Paris just mentioned, do you agree with the criticism in that letter that the city spent too much time lobbying this past year for $2 billion for a new Bears stadium instead of money for CPS?
That's where the politics come in, right? Yeah. That's just the politics. What are they even talking about? Come on, there's no question of the receipts that I have as it relates to public education. Yeah. Right. So y'all want to talk about what my priorities are in receipts? Who on that letter starved themselves to keep a school open?
Starved? Really?
Who on that letter took arrests in front of the city hall, in front of the very elevators that are now held for me? No. Who else went to Springfield and took busloads of people to Springfield to advocate for the type of transformation that we are experiencing? So all I'm saying is, the moment people begin to take those unnecessary political shots at my administration, you have to question their motives. And just for the record, we do need a new Bears stadium. We do. But what we're
No, you don't.
to talk about,
You can't afford your current budget. You want $2 billion for a stadium?
All right. Do we have any other questions?
I just have one follow-up.
Okay.
The announcement for the presser this morning mentioned that 7 new appointments would be announced. So I think where some of the other questions have been coming from is...
It's okay. It's 6 right now. There's another batch that will come out. We will make recommendations as we move forward.
Was there someone over the weekend that like dropped out or like didn't pan out or anything like that? Was the intention for 7 people to be here today?
The intentions was to make my vision for the Chicago Public Schools
Just answer the
readily
question.
available to all the individuals who want to hear that. Yep.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Maureen Kelleher, freelance with the Chicago Reader. 2 questions. First one is real practical. Are the 6 people that we're seeing today going to be in the seats at the board meeting in October?
That's the intention, yes.
Okay, what's holding us back from the intention and the reality?
Nothing, just the process, the curtain that's now wide open. There's a vetting process, and they'll go through the normal process that the other 6 that I appointed back last year, we did this already, they'll go through that same process.
Okay.
Yep.
One other question. This is bigger picture. So, Governor Pritzker pushed hard for the graduated income tax. It didn't happen. That was supposed to be the money for schools.
Yep.
You pushed hard for Bring Chicago Home, which probably would have taken some pressure off TIF.
Yep.
TIF and the graduated income tax might have done the job on money. We don't have either. Where are we getting the money?
Yeah, as I said before.
Short-term, high-interest loan.
The TIFs are just one component of it.
But can't admit it.
That's what the focus should be from these alders and these state reps and state senators.
That's right.
That should be the focus. So everybody agrees, and I thank you for the reporting that you all do at the Reader. Everybody agrees that we don't have enough. And so now I'm on the front line saying out loud what everybody already knows.
And taking out a short-term, high-interest loan to pay for it.
That goal, which is to make sure that we have more than enough.
And he's making sure they have more than enough money to fund Chicago schools, which have less students than they did 20 years ago, despite a higher budget and worse results for students. He is... The thing he keeps dodging, the thing you want to do is take out a short-term, high-interest loan to cover that gap instead of making any cuts whatsoever to the CTU, to the public school system. It's insane. And he keeps dodging it. It's frustrating to watch. This is just Trumpism.
Everybody agrees that what we could have
hide behind populist rhetoric.
Didn't happen. And now you have the mayor of Chicago, which, by the way, every mayor did not support that graduated income tax. I'll say that one more time, because you all reported this. This mayor did, and does. And so now
yeah, right. Less kids, more money, and worse results somehow.
To get enough.
Most of that money's going to pensions of people who retired a long time ago.
Now all of a sudden people have concerns? Where is the logic in that? And so we know where we have to go, and we know what we have to do. I am just bold enough and honest enough to say out loud what we have to do.
Bold enough to take out a ridiculous loan to pay for the thing that, yes, your constituents wanted, but not this much. Is that guy behind him wearing a Harris button? Yeah, I didn't notice that until now. That's a Harris Waltz button. Fitting. Yeah, no, it's like, on the one hand, yes, you are fighting harder than most mayors would have to do the thing they voted you to do. There is truth in what he's saying. But if people say, okay, that's too far, if the voters say that's too far, if journalists are saying, okay, that might be too far, if 41 out of 50 aldermen are writing you a letter to say this is too far, you should then take that into account. Especially when half this money is going to go toward pensions for people who aren't even working anymore. It's just ridiculous.
Extracurricular activities, and that should be the case for every school district in Illinois. Have you seen what some of the districts are dealing with in the Southland? Their property taxes, in some cases, 3-4 times higher than those in Chicago. Look, y'all, if Chicago was the only area...
He's certainly more bombastic than Lightfoot.
Some of the pushback. But the fact that we have an entire state, an entire country, where the school districts across America are hanging in the balance, and you have questions about my authority to do what the people of
It's
Chicago...
not about your authority, it's that your idea sucks. Your idea is bad. You are using your authority to do something that is dumb.
Right here.
They're okay, they can call you out for that. They're allowed to do that.
Hi, Mayor Johnson, Sophia with AP. Just to clarify, these 6 people are your appointees. They will be on the newly appointed board.
That's why they're standing here.
Okay, and but so they're no longer being vetted. I think a little confused.
No, there's still an entire process. This is the same process that has always happened. They can't get vetted until I make a nomination or recommendation. The CPS doesn't just walk around grabbing names and vetting people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe just to clarify for the wider audience who doesn't know that process, so
yeah, look, I've said it multiple times. These are nominees. They will go through a vetting process like every other nominee has gone through for the last 75 years.
And then what's then you'll say they're good and they're on, or
well, the vetting process will confirm that they're already good. The vetting process will just make sure that that whatever conflicts that could exist, that we are aware of those, right? Or any other matter that
and
needs
it's
to be
your confirmation and then they're on the board.
I have the authority.
Okay, and the 7th position, you're still looking at candidates for that 7th position.
Well, we're actually looking for up to 11 because we're already transitioning towards a fully hybrid. All right, thank you.
One more. Mayor, you were able to replace the resigning board so quickly. Are you making plans to replace the CPS CEO as well? Do you have candidates in mind?
That's the board's responsibility. They will evaluate the CEO and any other CEO that comes through. Okay, do we have a couple more questions back here?
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
My God, I am doing terrific.
Well, good afternoon. Mayor, is this a good week to go to London for a Bears game? And also, who's going to pay for that trip?
All right. Okay.
Good question.
All right. I'm going to London to attract business to Chicago.
No, you fucking ain't.
Okay? I'm going to London to attract business in Chicago.
What business? What business? What business? What business? I want to know. What business? What are you bringing to Chicago? I want to know.
The people of Chicago service. Because I have to be very honest with you. It's pretty jacked up the way you frame that.
Right.
That is. It is.
No, it's not.
It's disrespectful and condescending.
Yes, it is.
That the black man is going to London for a game. It's disrespectful. It is. And people get away with that too much.
They do.
The governor went to Tokyo.
Also bad. He is also a billionaire. He can probably afford it. But there should be look into both. What are you talking about?
To root for the Chicago Bears.
Can you confirm if you're not or are you on leave from CTU?
Okay. All right. I'm the mayor of Chicago, you all. I'm the mayor of Chicago. Let me just.
He's such a weak leader. He thinks he's the next Obama, but he is so weak.
Let me just say this one more time. I already won. I am already the mayor of Chicago. Stop talking old news that nobody even cares about. Not one parent has ever asked me that question. Not one Chicagoan has ever asked me that question. Did you know what they have asked me? Will you make sure that the children who are unhoused in this city have an opportunity to lay down their head? That's what they're asking me. Will we have social workers and counselors, Mayor Johnson? My full-time and only job is to run this city, to love my black wife and my black children. Go ahead, Sarah.
I mean,
good morning.
Good.
Good afternoon.
I have a couple questions. They have to do.
Oh my God. It's 12:05. Damn it. I can't see it because of the stupid bar. It's 12:05. He corrected her on that. What a dick.
Did you know what they have asked me? Will you make sure that the children who are unhoused in this city have an opportunity to lay down? My full-time and only job. Go ahead, Sarah.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
12:05. You dick.
I have a couple questions. They have to do with the pension payment, but also just with the general issue of entanglements between Chicago public schools and the city. And I'm wondering, first of all, if you've started some discussions about untangling the two. And the other thing I'm wondering is whether you are considering giving CPS more than the $160 million in TIF surplus that it's already counting on in order to help solve this year's budget issues?
Two very smart questions. So the entanglements are quite severe. The pensions is one of those dynamics. It is. And so there
we're
are
paying
some
off
of those conversations
massive
happening
pensions,
right
people
now.
who aren't even working
Senator
anymore.
Martwick, who helped create that
Massive,
process.
generous
There are
pensions,
so
which are
many
great if we can
entanglements
afford
right
them.
now. That's why this
As long as the
transition is
current
so
crop of
imperative.
students isn't suffering
You know, as
because of
far
it,
as
which
TIF
they are.
surplus, as we continue to evaluate as much as possible that's there, I'm going to strongly recommend that the board responds to that surplus. That's something that I've been fighting for as a parent, as a teacher, as an organizer. So what's been projected, in the event that it's more, I'm going to make sure that our kids and that our
It's
board
not about
and
kids, it's
statewide
about
actually do that.
pensions.
Are there
Those
any
are the
questions
pensioners
on
are the opposite of
that? Thank
kids.
you all very much. I appreciate it.
Pensioners are the opposite of kids. My God. Oh, Johnson. All right. Whew. Okay. We are going to go to this Hassan Minhaj interview at some point, but I want to take a break from politics, so we'll see what else is good here. Nothing but politics, of course, in my recommended feed, of course, and Amir Odom, who I haven't watched in a while, actually. I'll be right back. Grab something. We're still talking about She-Hulk. Who cares? Welcome back, friend. Oh, look, another Chicago shooting. Great. I would love something that's not political, but I swear to God, that's all that's in my feed. Oh, I love frozen pizza. Ooh, we can watch them Too Lazy to Try. I do love his channel. Yeah, alright. Let's watch Pointless Hub.
Kaijus.
I do love his
Everyone
channel, even
likes
if I don't really
kaijus.
care about
The robot fights the
Cloverfield.
Pacific Rim, any version of Godzilla, serious or silly. And who doesn't love Gamera? I love Gamera. I talk a lot about giant monsters, how much I love them. But let's be honest, if you were stuck in any of these scenarios, it would be absolutely terrifying. Imagine if you were just going about your day and suddenly your entire life is uprooted by an incomprehensible beast. No context, no overhead view, you just witness the destruction the only way you can, on the ground. And so you film it. That is Cloverfield.
I'm already kind of bored because I just don't care about this movie.
For a time as a kid, Cloverfield was
I feel
my
bad about that,
favorite
but
movie.
I don't know.
When it came out, it had such an aura that couldn't be described. Every time I viewed it,
We'll
I
leave
just
them
had
alone,
a sinking feeling. But there's a mystery to it. From its marketing, to the hidden little details throughout the film, to the concept of just found footage in general. This was my first found footage movie, and it stuck with me like nothing else truly did. To me, it was entirely unique. It still kind of is. As the years went by, of course my opinion on the movie changed. The mystery element sadly faded away. You learn all about the behind the scenes, how it was directed by Matt Reeves and produced by J.J. Abrams, and T.J. Miller went on to be T.J. Miller. Eventually, you just
I
kind
forgot
of
T.J.
stop
Miller was
watching
even in this movie.
and move on, until you decide to watch it again for a silly YouTube channel. And yeah, after watching this movie again, I still love it, man. I can finally rant about this thing. Let's do it. When looking back at the big found footage movies, like Blair Witch, Paranormal Activity, and of course Cloverfield, they all have one thing in common: underground marketing, word of mouth. These movies only succeeded because it got people talking. Imagine if you were in the theaters in 2007, watching, say, Transformers, and this mysterious trailer begins to play. And then it
Oh, I
ends.
remember
There's an
that.
end.
I do remember when that's the image of that the Statue of Liberty's head getting thrown, being everywhere. But like, what? I'm surprised he still loves this movie because my God, does no one remember the monster in it whatsoever? No one remembers the Cloverfield monster as anything other than the monster from that movie, Cloverfield. It has no lore. It's not. The design is kind of cool, but it's not interesting. It's just a kind of looks like just a big monster. It's nothing that's like interesting about it story wise. I don't know. God, I just cannot be bothered to care about Cloverfield. I don't know. Chicago mayor says he possesses the power. Oh boy. Let's see. Let's see how it goes, man. Let's see how it goes. Oh God. I'm actually excited for this Donald Trump biopic. It seems interesting. Sebastian Stan's performance is really, really good. I really like it. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this on YouTube? What the fuck? Jesus Christ, YouTube. Why are you destroying young black men? Jesus. Ugh. The food is very, very good. Illinois has really, really good food in general. YouTube kind of sucks right now. Go. Oh, it's just sad to see how the government is just like falling apart. Awful. Absolutely awful. Oh well. I mean, what do you even do at that point? I'm trying to see. Yeah. It's sad to see where we fucking are now. Alright, I'm gonna look through my Steam library, see if there's anything that would be, like, fun to play. I could do some Endless Space 2, Endless Legend. Could go back to Beyond Earth. You know what? Let's try some Beyond Earth. That sounds pretty fun. That seems very fun. Here we go. Well, I lost horribly last time, so let's see how this time goes. I also need to get some dinner. I'm kind of hungry. That sandwich didn't go very far. Might just make like 2 or 3 more. Might just eat like 2 or 3 peanut butter sandwiches for dinner. It's cheap. God knows I need that right now. I haven't paid that much attention to it, but yeah, it seems cool. I know I saw you changing all this stuff over on Discord a couple of days ago. Oh shit, something got posted about Candace Owens in the Discord. Shit! We should watch some Candace Owen videos. Some Candace Owen takedowns. I would love to do that, actually. We'll do that in a sec, but we're taking a break from politics right now. Let's play a game and not get absolutely slaughtered right off the bat. Hopefully, not lose our capital. Oh, we're going back to Polystralia. Production. Honestly, I like beginning with the worker more. We're going to try to actually build a trading empire that's not awful. Got big plans for your new channel? This is about what... This is basically the world that we did last time. Let's try it out. Let's see where we go. Alright, let's try not to lose horribly this time. Got a lot of food up here, a lot of production down here. Let's build right there. Get there and start building. Patrol boats. Maybe another explorer. We have this one massive supercontinent. Maybe another explorer would be better. Faster. Yeah, let's get another explorer because I want to also get a second city built. Really fast. Hey, welcome in. No, we were just watching the recent press conference Brandon Johnson did about, Oh, you're good, man. Welcome in. It's been an interesting stream so far, but I'm probably going to be here another couple of hours. I'm actually really ahead of my projects for once, so just going to be hanging out for a bit. So pop in if you feel like it later. Already got it. I'm not finding a single resource pod, which really sucks. There we go. Finally. Alright. May as well take these out. I don't have enough population to make that worthwhile yet. Oh shit. God, I love the alien creatures in this game though. Alright, plantation's built. Yeah, get us more food. That's what we need. Nice. Alright, alright. Finally getting some of these. And we got 15 science for the quest. Maybe I shouldn't get too close to that. Resource pod out there. And you are going north. Please don't get killed. You should do streams. Streaming is fun. A little bit draining, but it's fun. At least I found it a lot more fun than I thought I would. Yeah, go over there. Ooh, I've got hiccups. Jesus, this coral is tough. Okay, let's whirl the barge out here in this algae. Oh, I'm in like a bay. Oh, I should just try to claim all of this. Oh, shit. If I got a city down here, I could just control this entire entrance. Shit. Yeah, I gotta start exploring all this and start building out here. And I got some defensive mountains right here. This is great. This is a good position. Okay. So I think I know where I want to expand. Let's get a patrol boat built. Put you up there. A lot of other people in my territory, which is to say, anywhere on this planet. Well, these guys are like within spitting distance of each other. Nice. Yep, give me a free worker. Absolutely need that. Please don't attack my workers. Please don't do that. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I got a spare now, but it would be bad. Nice. Okay. What can we get by combining these? 100 production for Orbital. That sucks. Okay. Ooh, shit. Ah, damn it. I've got multiple alien nests here. That's going to be a pain. Alright. I think the best thing to do would be put a city here, and then a city, like, right here. Oh, I need pioneering. Make a colonist. Damn. Definitely want more culture. I still don't have the ability to remove miasma, which is kind of a pain. But it's not the end of the world. What are you doing on my planet? Very nice. more, and I'm gonna get that free colonist. Do need a clinic though, because health is gonna be an issue very quickly. Four turns, 1 turn. Okay, good. The copper is here now. All right, so I'm going to put another city. Shoot, where do I want to put it? Way too much miasma right here. Here would be better, actually. There's a ton of resources here. But I'll also put one across the bay. Yeah, let's get engineering. Oh, nothing else in the bay. Well, that's somewhat frustrating. Maybe this isn't a great place for a city. There's no way to sail out of here. Yeah, that's not actually going to be as advantageous as I thought it was going to be. Right here is great, though. There's a ton of resources. I'm going to have to clear that out, though. That nest. Jesus Christ, this is a lot of aliens. I almost have enough money I could just straight up buy a colonist. Might end up just doing that. Free level up in affinity. Like that. Alright. I have a lot of artifacts. Okay, these are the three I originally had, and they give... That sucks. Okay. What about war? Not planning on going to war soon. Expedition speed. That's pretty nice, actually. But let's try to see what else we can get. Drone command. Drone command is great. It's one of the best buildings in the game. So I'm taking that. I can just purchase that colonist and not have to sacrifice the population. Boom, that's 2 free colonists in 1 turn. Alright. Very nice. Okay. Do I want you out on the water? Maybe over here. You still haven't even used your expedition module. I really want to be able to remove miasma. Where is that? Let's add. Here it is. Ecology. What can we make out of these 3? Covert operation speed. That sucks. I don't really use covert operations. You, after that, need to be constructing the drone command. How many trade slots do I start with? 3! Ah, God bless the fucking Polystralians. Ah, the Indians.
The temple doors of the Protectorate are...
Who, for some reason, speak English.
泛亚合作光宗耀祖。
I need a lot more workers. Oh, the big motherfuckers are coming out to play. That's a bad sign, but alright. We'll make it work. Oh, that's a lot of aliens. Okay. Jesus. Well, certainly getting a lot of exploring done, which is great. Two more nests. Great. who this is. That's probably the American city. Show me that. That's the Americans. And they also have 3 cities, but they don't have the population I do yet, which is good. Not that far ahead, though. Oh, great. It just rolled over my worker and killed it. Great. Ooh, my health is not good right now. go run and get some coffee real fast. Be good to have. $270 to purchase a clinic. That sucks. That farm's done. God damn it. Now I gotta go fix that. Even if I bombard this thing, it's not even gonna do any damage to it. God damn it. Okay, what gives health? I need anything that gives me health. getting worse. We're almost at that point where we can start taking the fight to these aliens, but not quite there yet. Not quite there yet. God damn it. That should be significantly easier now. focused on going down a singular path. Making a lot more money now. If I can just get my health under control, get another trade depot over here in Rangi, my other city, I will be well set. And then start building up the military and start taking the fight to these aliens. thank God, finally. There we go. It continues to be politics. That's the best I can probably say about it. Johnson is still fucking unhinged, but not a whole lot else going on. Yes. We did actually start watching that Cloverfield video, but I got bored in about 30 seconds because I just cannot be bothered to give a shit about that movie. We could go watch some other Pointless Hub stuff. I really like... I think I was in the middle of watching his, one of his King Kong videos earlier, so I'm down to go and watch some of his stuff, but I just cannot be bothered to care about Cloverfield as a movie. I just can't. I don't know why. Just can't give a shit about that movie. I really can't. Oh... I can always come back to this game later, now that I'm actually doing well. Cool. Batman's what? It's people like it? Okay, what's this new Batman origin? I'm not up on DC Comics lore, so you gotta fill me in. God, I'm making a lot of money. When my capital doesn't get taken away from me, I'm really good at this game, I swear. Though that last one was totally my fault. I'm not blaming anybody else for that. They just let their unit die. I hope it was worth it. Apparently, yeah. I think we had about the same number of watchers on the last one, too, though it seemed to increase. Yeah, it did actually seem to increase right when I got fucked over. Yeah, let's go to Rant. But hey, that's the risk when you don't invest in military. I mean, that's what happens. Survives a... Oh, God. That's the change they made, so his parents died in a mass shooting instead of just being killed by a random mugger. That's... topical, I guess. I don't know if it's really, like... That's interesting. Yeah, that's all I can say. That's an interesting change. I don't know if it's, like, a change people will, like... gravitate to and think, oh yeah, this was for the better. But okay, I mean it's interesting, and on a character that's this old, I'm glad they're trying new things, I guess. God, I'm making so much fucking money. I know I need to invest in my military. At the zoo? Okay. I mean, okay, that's interesting. I guess there have been crazier Batman origin changes. That's interesting. That is interesting. Okay. Well, I'm happy they're trying new things. Good for DC in that, I guess. All right. Good for them, I guess. That's the most I can say. A mass shooting. I never liked the idea of Batman. That's been a really common thing they've been trying to push. Like, Batman knowing all the villains for a really long time, and every single villain having some kind of, like, personal connection to, like, Bruce Wayne as a kid. That does not need to be a thing. They do that with every major superhero. They go through some kind of, like, a stretch where they try to make, like, every single villain, like, personally connected to them. And it's just doesn't need to be a thing. It's not that it's even bad, it just does not need to be a thing. Yeah. That's something they always try to do. Like, the longer... whatever. Now that you're back, though, I think we're on turn 96. Let's get through turn 100. I'm going to step away for a sec. I had to grab my dinner. And then I think we're going to go back to YouTube, see what there is that's good and would be fun to watch. I think I'll have finished all of the stuff I want to build before finally investing in my military. Damn, it's worth purchasing. I have all this money and there's nothing to purchase. What a shame. Yeah, the Fox Gotham show definitely crossed my mind there, where somehow it basically became like fucking Teen Titans for the Batman. Well, I guess Teen Titans is in the Batman universe, but like, you know what I mean? Teen Batman and Teen Joker, Teen Poison Ivy, all interacting. It's ridiculous. Oh God. Alfred's military history was something that was always better to just be hinted at and not like, Jesus, have him going out like fucking karate chopping people. All right. So many fucking trade routes. It's ridiculous. I can still take one more trade convoy. God. I have a total of 3 here, 3 here, and 4 here. I, in total, have 10 trading units. And I'm about to have an 11th. Jesus Christ. Oh, it only it's a... Shoot, I didn't realize it only lasted 60 turns. I'm going to assume that question's for Matt, because God knows I could never answer that. I will be right back. I'm gonna grab my dinner and make another cup of coffee. Be back in a sec, boys. Probably. I do love that the number of messages, the number of people in the stream went up when I walked away. Now the question is, what could be fun to watch? Ooh, you guys watch Good Work? I love his stuff. I haven't watched his video on interest rates yet.
Interest rates. Two pretty short words, but in the time that it takes my brain to process them, I get bored as shit. Somewhere deep inside the recesses of my skull, I know that interest rates are important for me to understand. Yet when it comes to discerning these enigmatic semantics, my usual gushing river of curiosity runs nothing short of bone dry. And yet society is abuzz over these interesting rates, their impact on our lives, and the money gods that apparently wield power over them. So even though I have no idea what's good with these thingalings, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm about to find out. Now, kids, the world of economics is a vast cosmos, swirling with different forces that shape the way we exchange goods, services, and bribes. One of the most powerful tools we use to shape these forces is interest rates. Isn't that right, University of Lynchburg professor Gerald Pranti?
Well, interest rates are basically the cost of borrowing money, and the reward for lending money, as well as a compensation for the risk you take when you lend somebody money.
Thanks, Gerald. Now, there are all kinds of different interest rates depending on what you're borrowing, for how long, and from who. But it turns out there is, in fact, one daddy interest rate to rule them all: the federal funds rate. And this is the rate everyone's interested in.
Get ready for lower interest rates. First interest rate cut in about 4 years. Cutting interest rates. Cutting interest rates.
They reduced interest rates.
Raising rates.
Interest rates. What if the Fed lowers interest rates in September? What does that even mean? And what does it mean for you?
The Fed funds rate is the target interest rate that commercial banks use to borrow and lend reserves to each other overnight. Sounds important. But where does this rate come from? Well, look no further than the Federal Reserve, the central bank of the United States and the largest central bank in the world, thank you very much. Led by Salt and Pepper Slender King Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve's two big jobs are to maximize employment and control inflation, or keep the prices of stuff stable. And one of the main tools that the Fed has to achieve these dual mandate goals is raising or lowering the target Fed funds rate. Then after that, it must be, I don't know, some sort of ripple effect from there?
It's sort of like a ripple effect from there.
Fuck, I'm good.
They set the baseline interest rate, that goes through to the amount how banks lend to each other, that goes through to how banks lend to individual people and businesses, et cetera, and that goes through to basically every interest rate in the economy.
To toss some examples at your head top, if the Fed funds rate went up, that would make borrowing money more expensive across the economy. Therefore, the cost of things like home loans, credit cards, auto loans, and student loans would, in theory, go up as well. Now, you might say, hold up, Dan. Sounds like these Yanks are trying to hurt the economy. But the Fed is willing to harm the economy in the short term to do a good thing for the economy in the long term: stop inflation. And this is all about balance. During good times, the Fed raises rates to encourage people to spend less, whereas during bad times, the Fed lowers rates to encourage people to spend more. The goal here is to make sure that the economy doesn't spiral away into hyperinflation or fall off into a recession. Pretty big responsibility.
They have an extremely powerful tool and something that is necessary for economic prosperity. Good monetary policy management is a baseline necessity if you want to have economic prosperity. And there's a reason why countries that we think of as really bad economies also tend to have economic prosperity. And there's a reason why countries...
Does he have a dollar mounted to his wall? All right.
That we think of as really bad economies also tend to have really bad central banks.
And even though we think about our whole milk U.S. economy as being pretty stable, we had a pretty big scare not too long ago.
When things aren't stable, people care a lot about this. Everyone was just terrified of what was going to happen to the economy at the outset of 2020.
Gina Smilik is an author and reporter for the New York Times covering the Federal Reserve.
The Fed was part of the equation of coming in and keeping things from falling to pieces completely. And then when the inflation took off, obviously the Fed is part of that equation too.
Going back to the Fed's wet dream of a balanced economy, they like to keep inflation at a steady 2%. But after COVID, inflation skyrocketed to a whopping 10%. I mean, I'll never forget seeing those prices when I was shopping at Kroger back in Q4 of 2021, doing my quarterly bulk relish pickup. It's a skin thing. Don't worry about it. The Fed responded to this inflation spike by aggressively hiking interest rates, which they've been doing until a few weeks ago when they made the first in a series of anticipated major cuts, hopefully lowering inflation without causing a recession, known in the biz as a soft landing.
Soft landing is just a way to refer to a situation where the Fed manages to bring inflation down without causing the unemployment rate to spike and the economy to fall into a recession. So it's basically exactly what it sounds like. It's landing the plane without a really bumpy runway ride at the end of it.
Now, pulling off that Captain Sully-style soft landing would be a big old feather in Jerome Powell's cap. It's a notoriously difficult maneuver, one that has rarely been achieved in the annals of economic history. Though I did try it once in the backseat of my parents' car in high school, and let me tell you, not a single one of us landed. But even though adjusting interest rates is the main way that the Fed can achieve that soft landing, interest rates aren't their only tool to manage a feisty economy.
This is very specific to one state of the world, very much about the Fed's emergency powers. So in times of crisis, the Fed has an ability to go out and really sort of backstop a wide variety of markets to keep them from crashing down. And those powers have really been sort of experimented with and expanded over time.
One example of the Fed's surprisingly wide-ranging power comes during their response to the 2008 financial crisis, when Fed boss Ben Bernanke solo approved a $600 billion program to help out markets who got run over by the struggle bus. And with tools like these that can be used to aggressively change our economy in the short term, the Fed is potentially an extremely useful political weapon. I mean, if you're a